Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. After lots and lots of requests, after seeing the bookcase behind me, many of you guys have requested that you'd like to see what's on the bookshelf to add to your reading list. So what I thought I'd do is specifically drill down on if I had to start today, based on all the books that I've read, all the different books that I've read, I want to recommend to you in this video the books that I would recommend for financial intelligence, financial education, to get you off on the best possible chance of financial freedom. So I'm going to do another video on more of the kind of mastery and self-mastery type books, and which have definitely had an impact in my life. And you know, I could go on and on and on recommending books that have made a difference in my life, but I want to break this little series down into financial books, self-mastery books, business books, and then investing and trading books. Now, because this video is going to be dedicated to financial books, I'm going to be talking about some investing books in this particular video. But ultimately, if I started today from scratch and I just read these books that I'm about to share with you, I know this would set an amazing trajectory for my financial freedom. So let's get stuck in. All right, so we'll start with the first book, which is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, I read this book when I was 21 years old. And although this comes kind of into self-mastery as well, this book really shifted my mindset in terms of how wealth was created and the opportunities that are abundant and how everything is a decision, everything is a choice. And it really reinforced in my mind that you can achieve whatever it is that you want in life, and things are much more objective than you think. A lot of people, when it comes to financial freedom, people seem to think it's a very subjective thing, but it isn't. There is actually a formula to it, and whilst reading this book won't make you rich or financially free, the 13-step formula inside this book will make you think differently. So I kind of wanted to add this to this video because it really was one of the starting points for me that enabled me and allowed me to start thinking differently, which is what it says on the tin. So Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill absolutely makes it into my list. The next book on the list has to be The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason or Clayson. Clayson? I don't know. But this is a fantastic book. Whenever I read books, I like to read from people who have taught the people who have read the books that most people read. So I study someone and I ask myself, well, who mentored them? Who taught them? And I try to find the furthest point back that I could possibly go, because I know what I'm likely to find in those books are timeless principles that stand the test of time, that will still be relevant 1,000 years from now, even from when they were written. And this book, it was written many years ago. It's a very old book, and some of the language in the book is old, but the principles in this book still stand true. And although some of the one or two of the principles are slightly different in today's day and age with regards to land and property, in my personal opinion and my values, but this book will definitely change the way you think about managing your personal finances, and it'll also reinforce that financial freedom is inevitable. It is inevitable if you work through the steps. So Richest Man in Babylon, if you haven't read this book, I highly recommend you go and read this book. All right, alongside from that book has to be The Automatic Millionaire. This is a great book by David Bach or Bark. I don't know. I'm really bad at pronouncing names. But The Automatic Millionaire talks about how your lifestyle costs and how your living expenses really hinder you from becoming financially free, and little steps that you can do within this book to adapt the way that you manage your lifestyle costs and instead to optimize those costs into cash generating expenses. And this is something that I still do today in my own life. I do this regularly. Now, with this book, this is one of the books that I would say, if you just follow this principle, it's not the full puzzle. Just like some of the other books that I'm about to share with you, but because they've taken a deep dive on one particular system or strategy, if you implement this into your financial freedom journey and your overall strategy, it's definitely going to accelerate your run to financial freedom. So that's Automatic Millionaire by David B. All right, you may have guessed the next one, but it's going to be Rich Dad Poor Dad by Kiyosaki. This is going to shift your mindset around money. It's going to allow you to think differently towards equity millionaires and financially free liquid millionaires, and the traps that the majority of people fall into when they're trying to achieve financial freedom and they can't get there. And he talks about his two dads that he was brought up with. One was wealthy in time and freedom. One was wealthy in terms of equity, and it just blew my mind when I read the differences between the two and understanding that actually time is wealth, because when you have time, you can create infinite money. Whereas if you're equity rich, you still have to go to work to pay for the upkeep of your empty house. And this is going to be an eye-opener for you. And that is followed by the cash flow quadrant. I got into a bit of a binge with Robert Kiyosaki's books many years ago, and Rich Dad Poor Dad. Then we go on to cash flow quadrant, where he starts talking about the quadrant of income. So whether you're a employee, a self-employed person, or a business owner, or an investor, and he talks you through that journey, or very similar to how I focus on business now by making things mobile then passive. This is a must read. These are, in my opinion, just as good as each other. What I will say again is, unlike some of the timeless books like Richest Man in Babylon that gives you a inevitable way to reach financial freedom, these are again one piece of the puzzle. If you save 10% of your income, after 40 years you'll have 4 years income. So it's not the full picture. If you save 10% of your income and that's all you did because you heard it in Kiyosaki's books, after 40 years, you're going to realize that you've only got 4 years worth of income to live on, and you're going to be very resentful. So take it with a pinch of salt, but the information in this book will blow your mind. It will definitely shift your mindset. But just know these books are written by a person with an agenda who has a business to sell the Rich Dad Company products, and there's a lot of showmanship and fluff built into some of these books. So don't take everything as gospel. Try and see behind the lines and appreciate the valuable information for what it is. All right, the next one is a tiny little book called Speed Wealth by T. Harv Eker. T. Harv Eker is well known in the financial space. Very small book, very easy to read, but this book opens your eyes into income growth, income generation, and how you can ramp up your income and experience quantum income growth by service and business. And this was really one of the first books that I quick reads on opening my eyes to service, because look, there's only one way to get money, and that's from other human beings. You get it by two ways, either beating them at a skill or serving them, which is the most rewarding and fulfilling. And this book was a great eye-opener for that. So Speed Wealth by T. Harv Eker. All right, the next two books I'm going to recommend are really about delayed gratification and the power of compounding. Compound interest. And although I kind of got my mind around compound interest way before I read these two books, if I was starting today and I wanted to understand compounding, and I wanted to be motivated, inspired, and encouraged to appreciate that compound interest and play the longer game, these are the books that I'd recommend. The first one is called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. This is an incredible, life-changing book. If you read this book, it's really going to take you on a journey. It's going to give you the in-depth insights into what impact small, tiny little incremental changes can have in your life, in such a way that you will stop beating yourself up and you'll stop looking up to different people, because you just know that if I just chip away at these certain things, I'm going to overtake whoever it is I'm looking up to. Fantastic book. Small things done every day. This really does make you aware of all the rules that we actually live by, but we weren't aware of, and what we can do to radically shift the course of our financial destiny or anything that we're going after in life. So that's that one. And then the next one is The Compound Effect. Actually, this got a review from David Buck, the author of The Automatic Millionaire. This is how to really jumpstart your income and focus on that long-term growth, that compounding effect. So those two books, The Slight Edge and The Compound Effect, I recommend reading, because as you're developing your financial education, you're going to need to have a longer-term time horizon in your mind to keep you focused, to stop you being swung day to day, stop you being emotional, and to help you make the better decisions. All right, now I want to go into a little bit of business income generation. First book I recommend is How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is a phenomenal book, probably one of my favorite books. I'd say this is in the top 5. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Again, it's an old book, about 20 million copies sold at the time of this recording. It is a phenomenal book. Right on the front cover, it's got Carnegie Changed My Life, Warren Buffett. And this is really, really going to change your life in terms of income generation. Again, timeless principles of human psychology, how humans work, and it helps change the way that you think about service and speaking to people and influencing people. And it tells you about how people go after what it is that they want and how you can change your conversations to allow them to see how they're getting what they want by helping you get what you want. It is a absolute life changer, this book. If you read this book and you study this book, if you're like me, by the way, I study certain books. There's certain books that I've read 20, 30 times over and over again. This is one of those books. All right, now we're going to go on to investing and growing your money in the markets. I'm going to recommend 2 books. One is a classic, and that is The Intelligent Investor. This is probably my Bible. Benjamin Graham, Warren Buffett's mentor. This is a book that has helped me make more money in the stock market than any other book out there. If you study this book, and it's quite a chunky one, but as I say, this is a Bible, this is a reference book, this is a book that will give you deep insights into value investing, how to pick undervalued stocks, how to do qualitative and quantitative analysis, and ultimately how to become an intelligent investor. If you're looking to invest in the markets, you're looking to buy stocks, you're looking to understand companies, and you want to know how to read cash flow statements and balance sheets and income statements and how that all fits together and how to perform analysis on the overall story of a business and then identify when that stock is undervalued so that you can buy it at a good price, this book is the book. All right, now I'm going to share with you a newer book, which really I read way after I was investing, and that is Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. Now, this is a chunky book, and it was co-written by Tony Robbins. It wasn't just Tony Robbins that wrote this book. The book features Charles Schwab, Ray Dalio, Steve Forbes, and some of the greatest minds on the planet when it comes to investing. But this book is probably the best new age classic to the intelligent investor. This book is going to teach you about the all-weather strategy, how to diversify your portfolio for maximum growth. Talks about index funds, mutual funds, ETFs, bonds, capital rebalancing, and really everything you need to know about how to formalize one of the most robust and sustainable and profitable investment portfolios that you could possibly build. Absolutely fantastic book. It's a big one, but if you read this, you'll be armed with some powerful knowledge. All right, and now speaking of Ray Dalio, my number one book, which I love, is Principles by Ray Dalio. So Ray Dalio, this book is split into 2, Work Principles and Life Principles. As I said, I'm going to do another video on the principles of self-mastery, but Ray Dalio is an absolute god in my eyes. This book is absolutely fantastic. The attention to detail, really everything that I've been over on all of these other books, Ray is an absolute genius at paying particular attention to detail when it comes to performance, growth, adaptation, diversification, service, mastery, everything. Ray, this book is another book that you will study. I reckon I'll be studying this book for the rest of my life. You could literally just ponder on chapter 1. You could open chapter 1 and say, right, principle 1, embrace reality and deal with it. You could sit there pondering that for many, many months and studying what that actually means. And when it finally clicks, you're going to feel yourself as you read through the chapters of this book becoming more and more empowered. It's incredible. So this is one of my favorite books of all time. Let me know in the comments some of the financial books that you love. I'd love to know what you read and what you've got value from. I'm always on the lookout for new books that are of value. And also the other subscribers to this channel will love to hear the books that you read as well, because they're always looking out for recommendations. So leave in the comments your favorite books and a bit about the book and what they're going to get from the book if they grab it and what you got from the book. I'll leave a link of all of these books in the description so you can go and grab them now. And don't forget to give this video a like if you agreed with any of the books on this, or if you're going to buy any of the books on this, you have to give it a like to let me know that you have. Until next time, guys, take care and I'll see you then.